The first question I got, let's say that's a 2.3 and a 3.2, so this is 2.3. 2.3 number 2 online. 2.3 number 2, a newspaper article claimed that the afternoon hours were the worst in terms of robberies and provided the graph to the right in support of this claim. Explain how this graph is misleading. Say again?
It's like the other graph that we did.
Okay. But they are giving you 0. They are giving you 0, so that's a good thing. I'm looking 6 to 9, that's 3 hours. 9 to 12, 12 to 6, there it is. The intervals are not the same. If you're going to have classes, they all have to be the same class width. So you can throw this one out, throw it in the trash can, because if you don't have the same class width on all your classes, it ain't worth 2 cents. So find out which one says not all the same intervals. A. I'm a guy, I don't like to read. Okay, so there it is, 12 to 6. When it goes to that 12 to 6, and you've got 9 to 12, that's like apples and what? Oranges. Or we'll say apples and pears. Okay? Just a little bit different. You can't have different in probability of statistics. Everything's got to be what? The same. Everything's got to be uniform. And we feel good about ourselves. So we don't have to take pictures in just one direction on Facebook. Next. Let me delete that one. 3.2, we got 2 from 3.2. This is number 9 and number 11. So we'll do number 9 first. 9, this is number 5 on the online homework. Find the sample variance and standard deviation. So go ahead and write those down. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me go ahead and put them in the Excel spreadsheet. We're going to do everything. And I'll make them big where everybody can see it. Okay? Including the 5-number summary. So let's make it big. Let's make it 16. There we go. And let's put them in order, because that's the first thing you got to do is put them in order. Because if you don't put them in order, you might as well just quit. There you go. All right, so let's do everything. Find your mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, variance, standard deviation, draw your normal curve, and do your 5-number summary and your box plot.
What question was it?
Thank you.
She said it looks different.
It should be the same question, just different numbers. Mean, median, and this is a test question. Anything having to do with chapter 3, 80% of the test. Mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, variance, standard deviation, 5-number summary, that's a good portion of that 80%. Mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, variance, and standard deviation. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger.
Is the test time?
We'll go over that when I pull up the test. Whoever asked that, I don't know who asked it. Who asked it? Raise your hand so I can call you a loser. Okay, wait till we go over the test before you ask the test question. I just want to make you feel, inferior. That's all. There we go. 5-number summary. And first quartile, second quartile, which is your median, third quartile, and max. Yeah, field trip to see. Yeah, I think we should do that. I guarantee you, my department head would call us before we got damn started. Anybody want to take a bet on it?
Why?
Because somebody would call her. Somebody would call her. Say, yeah, I just thought you want to know that Hubert made everybody go see Annabelle. Oh, I didn't tell you all about the Mexican restaurant. Oh, yeah. We had a night class. And the night class had like 6 people in it. And the last day of class, everybody wanted to go eat Mexican. And it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon when it started. And I said, okay, this is what I'll do. I said, if you want to go eat, I'm going there at 5 o'clock and you can be there and meet me. You can go home. You can do whatever. Nobody will be penalized. Everybody will be counted here. And everybody will buy their, I'll buy your food. You buy your refreshments. That was the deal. Went to El Herrero's right down here, about a mile down the road. Or it's actually 3 miles to El Herrero's from here. 3 miles. By the time I got down there, I got a phone call with my department head. Are you making your class go eat with you? Thus the rule, there's always what?
One asshole.
There's always one person. Out of those 4 people, 5 people, there was one person that decided that I was forcing them to go eat lunch, or go eat with me. So that was, of course, the last time I did that. So you can forget about going to see Annabelle with the class. We can do that because somebody would call my department head and say that I was a Satanist and a devil worshiper. I ain't kidding you. Our society has gotten so soft. It has. Snowflake buttercup. I mean, no sense of humor. No, everything is, yeah.
Just set the time. You just set the time to take.
Yeah. But I forced you. I forced y'all to go eat. I forced them to go eat. Oh, I love Insidious. What, your ex-husband?
Quick question. Oh yeah, he was. It was variance.
Yes, ma'am.
When you do variance, you take like all the numbers and you times it by the mean, right?
Variance, I'll put the formula on the board. Remember, I told y'all, when in doubt, go back to the formula and read the formula. And I'll read it out loud in just a second for you. Variance formula is the summation of x minus x bar, quantity squared, over n minus 1. And what is the standard deviation? Square root of what? The variance. So what do you got to do? You got to subtract the mean from each one of your x's. Then you have to square. And then you have to what?
You gotta divide it.
Not divide it. What does the funky E mean? I don't know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the min and the max for y'all so I can contribute. Yeah, they should make the Insidious 3.
They did.
Or Insidious 4. Was Insidious 3 in the cornfield at the end?
It was where they went back to where she grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought Insidious.
Yeah,
chapter
and they were
3.
they ended up in the cornfield.
The second one was where.
Which one were they in the cornfield and they were on the crosses? No, because the mean dad
There's
came back
already a
and
chapter.
grabbed her.
There's already a chapter 4.
That was the third.
The chapter 3, no. The chapter 3 is where like the girl gets possessed and she ends up in a hospital. I only remember this because my ex-boyfriend.
Didn't she have a broken leg?
Yes.
Yeah.
Boyfriend and I
I haven't seen that.
Okay, I've seen that one. Yeah. And the old man was beside her bed?
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I believe that, yeah. That was Insidious 3. And that's going to be equal to the median. Color that one yellow, that yellow. How many numbers we got? 10. So that's going to be 5 and 6. So that's equal to parentheses this guy plus this guy divided by 2. The mean is the sum of all these numbers divided by 10. Now, what do those two numbers being close tell you? It means your data's pretty tight. I don't care about the mode, but the book does. You know, they ask questions, but I don't see it. 28. Range is equal to the highest minus the what? Lowest. Mid-range is equal to the highest plus the lowest divided by 2. Okay, so all y'all should have those numbers. And those, like I said, 99% of y'all should be able to get those numbers without any problem. Because 2 or 3 of them you've been getting since you were in the what, 8th and 9th grade. So everybody should feel good on those 5 numbers. Now let's do the variance. So here's the first step. What do you subtract from x? Which is the mean. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say 8 minus 29, and I'm going to hit F4 for those people using Excel. Know what that means. It locks it so I can copy it down. Check your numbers. I usually tell people to check the first, the middle, and the last number. If you got the first, the middle, and the last number in your notes, then you got it. Now, look at the formula. What do you do after you subtract the mean from each x? What do you do?
add them all.
Nope.
Square.
You square it. That's why you got to read the formula. And most of you females can handle that. It's the guys that don't read. And then what does the formula tell you to do? What does that funky E mean? Y'all said it a while ago. Add them all what? Add them all up. And that number is the numerator. 1546 is the numerator for your variance. Right here, 1546. I'll do the n minus 1 for you. Let's see, that'll be 9. So the variance is equal to 1546 divided by what? There's your variance. And now let's do standard deviation. That's going to be equal to this number raised to the what? 0.5 power or 1/2 power or the square root. And there's your standard deviation. Now we're going to do this all on the calculator here in just a minute. So everybody can do it both ways. Do it 3 ways. Do it by hand, meaning in your notes or notebook paper, in the calculator, or the Excel spreadsheet. So now let's do the first. So here is let's take a dot that represents the median. And that dot is right here. Or star. Okay? So how many numbers are above that blue star? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So is 5 odd or even? So we just picked the middle number. What's the middle number? 23. So I'm going to paint that dang old rouge. What'd but y'all said it was Roja. And do the same thing here. So that's going to be 34. So we'll color that for day. And of course the min, I calculated the min for y'all. And the max. Color that nasty looking yellow. How about that? All right, now draw your number line and your box plot. And also draw your normal curve. I'll be doing that down here, your curve, I'll put that down here. Equals the mean equals this number plus this number, F4, this number minus this number, F4. All right, there's your normal distribution. And then I'll put the min right here. And the max right here. And the mid-range right there. Now I'm not going to worry about that decimal while I'm doing my number line. Why? Because you just graduate the number line so you can locate the what? The box plot. So it's not rocket science. All right, what's 30 plus 8? 38, and half of 38 is what, 19? So 19 is going to be right here. 8 to 19 is 11, half of 11 is 5. So 8 plus 19 is 27, 13.5. Y'all check me. 13 is good enough. So 8 to 13 is 5, add 5 here, that's 24. Add 5 here, that's 34. Add 5 here, that's 39. Think of add 5 here, that's what, 44. There's your number line. Now we've used that number, we've used that number, we've used that number, so the only 3 numbers left are what? Your box plot. 23, 34, and 30. There's your box plot. Here's the middle. So it looks like maybe a little bit on the left side, just a little bit. Not really enough to, but slightly skewed right, slightly, because a little bit of the material, a little bit of your numbers are on the left. And then your normal curve with your empirical rule. Sorry, I got it drawn off a little bit. There's your 34, 34, 13.5, 13.5, 2.35, 2.35, 0.15, and 0.15. Of course, this is normal. If I hadn't already told you that. Oops, sorry. That's normal. And then what's out here, that's unusual. And then what's outside of unusual? Your Michael Jordans and your, Peyton Mannings and your, what's the guy in New England, what's his name?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. That's your outliers. People that are greatest of all time. Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, Somebody name a few others. I'm trying to think of. Yep, that's about it. Bart Starr, he wasn't. He was kind of average, but he just died. He was Green Bay. Herschel Walker, yes. I would say Herschel was. And what's his name? Bo Jackson. He was. Say again, who? Yeah. Detroit. Yep. No, we should have dated ourselves. All right, so that's a good question. Now, of course, you can fill in the question now with any of that because you got 10 questions there. There's 10 test questions. When you do, that's why I teach it this way. When you do all of that, you're doing 10 questions in one. So, what do they ask for? Somebody, y'all got all that written down? Let's go back to the question to see what they're asking for. Okay, so this is a sample. So tell me which one you're going to pick. You're going to pick the S or you're going to pick the sigma? This is 2 test questions. One is they're asking you sample, that's a definition. And then what goes with a sample? A lowercase statistic. That's Greek letters or regular letters? I don't know mumble. You've got to articulate your letters, okay? Your words.
Isn't A?
Why is it A? Because it's a regular letter. Letters go with statistics. Greek letters go with what? Population parameters. PPSS. That's probably why somebody sent this question, because they probably picked sigma and they got it wrong, because that goes with population. All right, somebody says round to 2 decimal. What was my standard deviation? Please don't mumble.
13.10.
Okay, I heard 13.
0.10.
Thank you. Okay, they don't like it, so you must. I don't know what they want.
Maybe it's 0.
Yeah, do 13.1.
It says 171.3. That's not right.
Oh, wait.
That's what I was saying.
That's not right. That's the variance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, they've got a problem there. Does it say?
Find sample variance and sample.
Okay, it's squared, standard deviation. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't read the question. So that's 171, and this is what, 13.10?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't see the S squared. I'm sorry. There, now we're cooking with peanut oil. I'm sorry, OIL. Oil. That come from the student that told me that I was not pronouncing it correctly. She was from Pennsylvania. And people in Pennsylvania pronounce words correctly. She pronounced OIL, oil. But she spoke perfect English. My first semester teaching, I had to have Miss Pennsylvania in my class. Oil.
I missed up. What was B?
What?
B 13.10?
First one was 13.13. What was the first one?
13.10.
The second one was 13.10.
Yes.
The first one was 171.73.
Okay, that was number. Was that number 6 or number 5? Which one was that?
That was number
9. Okay, now we're doing number 6. An insurance company crashed 4 cars in succession at 5 miles per hour. The cost of repair for each of the crashes were blah, 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 blah. Compute the range, sample variance, blah, 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 blah. Now, you don't have to do the 5-number summary on this one. Somebody tell me why. It's one of those common sense questions. I'm sorry, what? You only got no. Why am I telling you not to do the 5-number summary here? It's not 5 numbers, you only got 4. All right, so data, sort, and go to it. Mean, median, range or mode, range, mid-range, variance, and standard deviation. Oh, we forgot to do the last one on the calculator. We'll do both of them on the calculator after this. Oh, is that, are you casting a spell? Is that what you're doing? She over here doing this to her computer. This one should be pretty simple. I'm going to put them in order. Summation divided by 4. Median is going to be the average of those two numbers. .406 plus 422 divided by 2. Mode, I could care less, but with 4 numbers, you're not going to have a mode. So I'm going to put NA, unless you got 2 that are the same. Range is equal to this number minus this number. Mid-range is equal to this number plus this number divided by 2. Variance, I'll go ahead and subtract this number minus this number, F4. And a lot of people complain, which I really don't care if you complain or not, but a lot of people complain and say, why do you do all this? Well, believe it or not, there are people that don't walk on water. Okay? And if you think you walk on water, you just wait till Unit 3 or Unit 4, because you won't be walking on water then. But for those that don't walk on water, this kind of helps them out. And add those up. And that's going to be your variance. That's going to be your numerator of your variance. Divided by what? 4 minus 1 is 3. And then take the half root of that. I'm sorry. Raise that to the half power. Or take the square root. And there's your standard deviation.
What did you divide that by? Experience?
N minus 1. You're not reading your formula. N minus 1. I don't know what they're asking on this one, but let's go ahead and pull up the calculator and do it on the calculator since it's only 4. And then we'll compare answers. So pull up the calculator, pull up the question, pull up the calculator, and it covers up the question. Thank you, and it won't move. All right, so we've got, how do you put it in order, Hubert? Well, hit stat, edit, and I'm just going to type them in. 422, 451, 406, and 329.
229.
Oh, 229? 229. And now hit stat, sort ascending, enter, type in second, 1, which is L1 in blue. Look above the 1, you see the L1, and hit enter. Now go back to stat, edit, and now they're in order. And now hit stat, I'm waiting for you to finish. You finished?
Yes.
Okay, first variable stat, which is enter, L1, and this defaults to L1, hit calculate. And there's your numbers, and you're looking at X bar, which is 377, and SX, which is 100.41. And if you wanted to go down and do the 5-number summary, it will calculate it, but it's going to be messed up because, you know, you don't have 4 numbers, but there they are.
But it won't show you the variance.
The variance, you take 86 point, I meant the SX, you take 100.41 or 409 and raise it to the second power. So let's check and see if that's what we got. So 377 is our mean, and SX is 100.41. 100.41. Got it? So let's go back to our handy dandy question. And they're asking for the variance, S squared, which that's what I messed up on a while ago. So somebody take, or we'll pull up the spreadsheet. 10,082. So 10,082. And the standard deviation, what did we say it was? 100.41. That's good. So the biggest question I get here with these questions is a lot of people don't understand what S squared is and S. Well, that's the relationship I told you about a long time ago. The square root of the variance is the standard deviation. The standard deviation squared is the variance. So make sure you remember that. Next question. Let's see, that's those two questions. We did those two. Now we got a 3.4. 3.4, number 6. A highly selective boarding school will only admit students who place at least 1.5 standard deviations above the mean on a standardized test that has a mean of 300 and a standard deviation 26. When you see these words, I need you to write that question down, and when you see these words, a mean of 300 and a standard deviation of 26, that means you're going to draw a picture of the normal distribution. And you better get used to seeing that, because in Unit 3, the whole unit is mean, standard deviation, and we're going to draw a picture, draw a picture, draw a picture. Okay? Of course, those that walk on water don't need a picture, but we all don't walk on water. And what do you do with that picture? What goes in the middle? Mean. The reason you know that is because I've been teaching it to you since the first day. So the mean goes in the middle, which is what? 300. The empirical rule says that, I'm sorry, this would be 326, this would be 352, and this will be what? 378. And y'all do the subtraction for me because I suck at subtraction. So that's going to be, what, 74, 274? Somebody help me out. And then what, 250, 248? And then 226 or 222? Now, I also told you to do your empirical rule and z-score. Z-score, right here is 0. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. This is -1, -2, -3. So that basically has done this. Okay? Now, when you see the word standardized, okay, standard deviations, okay, they're wanting you to basically, I think they're wanting you to do a z-score, but we may not have covered this one, but we'll see what, I don't know. I think, remember, z-score is equal to x minus x bar over standard deviation, and x is equal to Oz plus mu. We haven't covered that yet, but I didn't know that question was in here, so we might have to cover it today. So write those two formulas down, don't just ignore them. 1.5 standard deviations. This looks like a z-score. What y'all, is it time to go? Is it time to go? Because people were like fidgeting. Okay. What time's class over? I know. What time is it right now?
Like 1.
What time's class over?
8:35.
Okay. Because I didn't know what was going on. All right. So 1.5 is going to be where? Right in here. So I'm going to take 1.5 and I'm going to put 1.5 right there. Okay. Now they're not giving us a table. That's what's confusing me here, because they're not giving us a table. So evidently we got a z-score. So it looks like to me we're just going to use, they want to know this right here. They don't need the area, so they just want to know what the score is. So x is equal to, the standard deviation is 26 times 1.5 plus 300. Somebody do that for me. Let's see, 1.5 is 26, half of 26 is 13, that'd be 39. 339? Oh, I'm sorry, I have to have a calculator, don't I? 339, somebody check that for me.
That's right. 3:30.
So your answer should be 339. Now, I think I said the other day that there might be a question that I haven't covered. This is one of them, and that's the Oz plus mu. And that's how you find a test score. X is a test score. Oops. And basically, at 1.5, the score at 1.5 is 339. Is that feasible? Yeah, because this is 326 and this is 352. So 339 is pretty much in the middle, because 1.5 is in the middle of 1 and what? 2. So that should be your answer.
It's not.
It's not?
Well, on mine.
Hold on, let me type in 339.
I just did.
Yeah, it is.
No, the numbers are different on. See,
Oh, yeah.
that's why.
Well, this is not your question. Somebody else said.
That question.
This one, I thought there was another question.
3.4.13.
Well, it should be the same. You must have went back in your homework and hit it again.
It just changed. Instead
Oh,
of
okay.
having 26, it has 24.
Okay. It's just gonna regenerate. So you would type in, what's your numbers now? What is the numbers they give you now?
1.5 is the standard deviation. It says a highly selective 40.
Okay, just send it to me. Hit Ask My Instructor and send it to me, and I'll pull it up. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's the same.
Just-
It's the same format though. It's just a number.
Okay, well, just try to do it, and if you have problems, send it to me.
It's the same thing except instead of having 300, it doesn't.
Oh, okay. All right, somebody just sent me, let's delete this one.
Okay, I got it.
Let's delete this one and pull up this one.
It's just, it only was by 6. I got it right.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. All right, the next one. And that is a test question, so make sure you make a note of it. And this one says 3.5, number 9, number 5. Okay, the data represents blah, blah, blah. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is put it in order and find all that information. I'm going to do everything. So if you want to bitch about it, you can bitch about it, but I'm going to do everything. All right, so there we go. And let's just go ahead and do everything. And I'm going to make that 14. How many numbers we got? 15? Well, that's good. That means halfway through. 7 and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's the median right there, so we can already find that one. So I'll go over here, make this a little bit bigger, make this a little bit bigger. Mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, variance, and standard deviation. And then over here, I'll do the first quartile, the mean, first quartile, the second quartile, third quartile, and the max. All right, go ahead and see how much you can do, and hopefully you can do it all, and then I'll come back behind you. Also, if you want to do it on your calculator, do it on your calculator. Just have to punch those numbers in.
You have that as the median, but the numbers aren't in order yet.
Yeah, they're not.
Oh, my bad. Thank you.
I didn't get them in order.
You highlight them and then go to data and hit that arrow going down. There it is.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, where it says the little arrow right here, one going down. Don't hit sort, because it's sort, it's going to ask you for the fields, and then you're going to get confused. So just highlight what you want to sort and hit the A to Z. Can anybody pick out the mode? 55? 48? 55? Any others? I don't really care, but 48 and 55 look like that's it. Range is going to be equal to that minus that. Mid-range is going to be equal to lowest plus the highest. Divided by 2. And I'm going to subtract my mean from each one of those numbers, F4. And then equals this number raised to the second power. And sum that up. And that's your numerator for your variance. So equals that number divided by 14. And then that number raised to the 0.5 power. The min is equal to that number. Max is equal to that number. The second is equal to that one. So how many numbers are above here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yay! So we just highlight that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that should be your 5-number summary. Now you draw your number line. And I'm just going to do it by hand. Min goes on the left. Max goes on the right. Mid-range goes in the middle. I'm sorry, mid-range is 55. So 46 to 55 is what? 9, half of 9 is 4. So that's going to be a 50 and 59. And then 46, that's going to be a 48. And then a 52. And then a 57. And then a 61. That should be enough for you to draw the box plot. 48 right here. 61 is right here, and 55 is right here. So what can you tell me about this data? It's pretty much normal. Question on that one? Any other questions? Hold on a second. I'm trying to get rid of everything. For some reason, there we go. And they ask you for the 5-number summary, so that's all they're going to ask you there. Question. All right, let's pull the test up. So when you go to the test, you go to quizzes and tests. There's the test. What does it have on it right here? What is that called? The due date. So you don't ask me when the due date is. You don't ask me what time. There it is. 11:59. That's midnight on the 4th. There's the title. How much time?
90 minutes.
90 minutes. It's got all this information on it, so you can what? Read it. How many attempts? And what do I average them all 3 together, or do I take the highest grade? I take the highest grade, so let's click on it. It's going to ask you again, do you want to start? The reason they have this is to go over all the information that you should have read from the first page. They go over it again. Okay, one of the reasons they have start is because you want to make sure that the conditions are right for you to take this test. Does that mean a lightning storm, tornado, and hurricane outside you need to take it? No. I have to say this because some person will try to take this test when the power's going off and on, and it's going to give us an incomplete. Please don't do that. Hit start. And here's your first question. Oh, it's a bonus question. If you have incomplete assignments and Hubert puts a 0 in for the grade, what will that 0 do to your grade? It will decrease it. Where does this question come from? a DA after the final exam. This came from a student. Oh, I didn't know zeros make your grade go down. Yeah, right. Checks in the mail. Compute the range. What is 170 minus 20? 150. Now some of these are real quick and to the point. Some of them are not. Okay? What does the homework, when does the homework terminate? If you notice these bonus questions, there's only one real answer. Do people miss them?
Yes.
Yes. In your grade book, they're not supposed to clump them together, but sometimes they do. In your grade book, this is a DA question after the final exam. In your grade book, to find the final grade after you have completed all assignments, which should you choose? Overall grade. This is a student that emailed me and said, what's my grade? Did I reply? No. All right, what's this one? 30 minus 14 is what? 16? What should a student do if something happens and they're out of class for a while, like a funeral, a high school event, or a wreck? No, you're supposed to email me 15 million times and throw a temper tantrum and say hello, or you throw a temper tantrum. That's what you should do. This came, you know where this came from? Student, not after the final exam, but 1 week after the final exam, after grades had been turned in, she decides to tell me that she was on a cruise during the Unit 3 test. And I went, did you have a good time? She said, yes. And I said, okay, I'll see you later. What do? What would you do at work if you had to be out? What would happen you said you work at Richard Campbell, right? What would happen if you just decided to take off, or if you needed to go to a funeral and you didn't tell anybody? What would happen when you came back? You'd be suspended or fired. And you know what that's called? That's called the real world. So make sure you communicate, even though some of y'all don't want to communicate. What branch? It's the only one that's got United States in front of it. Oh, this is the second most missed question.
C.
Why is it the second? Why make fun of the second most missed question? It's the only one with a real email and what? Phone number. These people procreate too. The people that miss these questions, they procreate. All right. The range and the standard deviation. I'm going to let y'all do this one. We're not going to do all of it. We're just going to find the range and the standard deviation. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to make it big so y'all can see it and not complain. No yawning in class, please.
Okay.
All right, enable, and I'll go ahead and put it in order if it's not in order. I hit enable twice. Thank you. Let me go ahead and put them in order. There we go. And make them bigger. There you go. And I think they asked for the range and the standard deviation, correct? So the range, most of y'all can find that without any problem. And the standard deviation. So the range is going to be equal to that. And standard deviation, you got to find the mean unless you do it on a calculator. And at this point, if you want to do it on a calculator, knock yourself out. Divided by, how many numbers are up there? 6 or 7? 7. So this number minus this number, F4, copy down. Raised to the second power. Oops, sorry. Copy down. And sum, enter, equals, parentheses, this number divided by, what did we say, 7, so that'd be 6, close parentheses, raised to the 0.5 power. That should be your standard deviation, 8.83. Now you can do the long version. I cut a couple of steps out. So there's your two numbers, 27 and 8.83. Mainly, y'all just need to see the question. So 27 and 8.83 or 8.8.
I was just going to read a stupid question.
What?
So when you have like questions like this, is it just a good thing to go ahead and just do like the mean, median, mode, range?
No.
Figure it all out?
Well, you can if you want to. It's up to you. There's plenty of time. You got an hour and a half. And 10 of the questions are bonus questions.
Okay.
So you've got basically, what? You've got 16 questions to do in an hour and a half. So you should be all right. Next. What? That was a good question. Okay, this is a Z question, I think. Hold on. The weight of an organ in adult males has a bell-shaped curve. Okay, there's our mean, standard deviation. So draw what? Draw a normal curve. Mean of 330 and standard deviation of 330 or 35. So draw a picture. I think this is empirical rule, which I've been showing to y'all since like the second day. Somebody add 330. 330 is going to be, is it 35? That's going to be 365. 365 plus 35 is 400. 435. Somebody's going to have to help me on the subtraction. 295. 265. 265. 230. And 225 or 195. What is it? I don't know. Somebody subtract 195. Okay, so that takes care of all of this. So that right there, these two words, mean and standard deviations, draw curve. Now what goes with the curve? Z-scores or percentages. It looks like to me, since they've got percentages, that they want the empirical rule. 34, 34, 13.5, 13.5, 2.35, 2.35, and 0.15, and 0.15. 95%.
How'd you get 265 again?
I don't know. Somebody told me that, but I don't think that's right.
Yeah, wouldn't it be
I said,
295?
Oh, wait. Assumption 300 instead of 330.
thank you for setting me up. I appreciate that. Okay, somebody do 335 or 3 whatever. Somebody do
That's
that.
295.
That's what I said to begin with, was it not? That's all right. We all know who the Russian is now.
295.
Hold on, I'm trying to get rid of Facebook. Okay, there we go. All right, so 295,
295.
and then 260, and then
245.
225. Okay. All right, now, what about 95% of the organs will be between what weights? Well, somebody add up to 95%. Well, 95% is going to be 68 plus 13.5 plus 13.5. 13.5 plus 13.5 is 20 what?
7.
27 plus 68 is what? 85? or 95?
95.
95. So between 260 and what? 400. So 260 and 400. That's why I showed y'all the normal curve and the empirical rule since the first day. So 260 and 400. Okay, what's the next one say? Between 295 and 365. 295 and 365. 68. Y'all are on the ball. What's the third one say? Less than 295 and more than 365. Now this is a trick question. Why is it a trick question?
Less than 295 is going one way and more than 3.
Well, it says or. And means you add all those up.
Or means you.
Or means either or. You got to be careful here. I don't know. That's not a good, it looks like to me they're wanting you just to add up one side. So what's 13.5 plus 5%? I'm sorry, 2.3 is 2.5. It's 16, right? So that should be 16%. Now a lot of people will say, well, Hubert, why don't you say 32? Because 32 would be and. Make sure you understand. Now, if I get this wrong, if they say that C is wrong, they need to change the daggum word, because does or mean both? No. Or means one or what? The other. Or does not mean both of them. Now, if it said and, then it would be 32%. Does everybody see what I'm saying? So I hope the people that wrote this question realize that. What percentage of Oregon weighs between 295 and 400? 295 and 400. Somebody add 68 plus 13, 81.5. Next. Okay, here's the data. So we'll go ahead and pull up the data on this one. Okay, this is the one I haven't shown you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do this question, open in Excel. This is the one that I haven't shown you. Well, oh, there it is. Where is it? Is this it? There it is. They want you to find the mean and the standard deviation. Okay, something's wrong. You can't have 70. You can't do that. That's not right. What's 61 minus 65? 4. 65 minus 68 is 3. 71 minus 73. This is not right. You're supposed to have classes. The classes are supposed to be the same. The midpoints are not going to be the same. Okay, let me make sure. 67 minus 64 is what? 3. 69 minus 67 is 3. That should not even be there. Well, look down here. What's 76 minus 72? Something is wrong with this problem. You can't do this problem. Okay, am I missing something? Let me make sure.
Is approximate the keyword?
No, you can't, because you can't find, what's the midpoint of 70? You got to have two numbers to find the midpoint.
I was just saying because it said often frequency distributions are reported using unequal classes.
Okay, where does it say that?
Up at top, that's what the text says.
Frequency distributions used in unequal class widths because the frequencies of some consider the following data, which represents the daytime households. Right, random sample is 736. Determine the class midpoint necessary for each class. Okay, I'm going to take this one out. I'm going to take this one out because that's a question. One, I haven't covered it, and two, that's not a good question. Now, I don't mind giving you a question. That question is not right because you're going to have to redo. You can't do a midpoint. 61 plus 64 is 125. That's going to be 62.5. But down here, that's 71 plus 72 is 143. That's not going to be right. Let's skip this one right now and come back to it. We'll cover that when y'all come back Monday or Tuesday. Determine whether the quantitative, I won't go over it, but I'm going to take it off the test. Determine whether the quantitative data is discrete or continuous. Number of beats in a song. Do you measure the number of beats in a song, or do you count the number of beats in a song? You count them. So what is counting? Discrete or continuous? Okay, so it's discrete because it's countable. Measured. I tell y'all that over and over and over, and y'all get these questions y'all get wrong. I don't know why. You count discrete. You measure continuous. Remember the fire hydrant? I told you about the fire hydrant outside. You measure. Why does Hubert not even reply to emails or text about extra credit at the end of the semester? I will give you credit for A. That is a correct answer. But that's not it is a right answer, but not the correct answer. Which one is the correct answer? C. Okay? Next. Although covered in the handouts in the first day of class, what is the best way to communicate with Hubert? Cell phone, because my email comes to my cell phone. And text me. All right, here's the Z-score question. All right, in a certain city, the average, okay, y'all need to write, the average 20 to 29-year-old man is 69 point blah, blah, blah inches tall, with a standard deviation of 3.2, while the average woman is 64. Okay, you got to draw two bell curves here. And just ignore the 20 to 29. That has nothing to do with the math. There's the mean and the standard deviation. Okay? Next. Find the corresponding z-scores. Who is relatively taller? So this is like the LBJ question. So get to work. 69.6 and 3.2. 64.3 and 3.8. Who is relatively taller? A 75-inch woman, a 75-inch man, or a 70-inch woman? So draw one, you don't have to draw two z-curves, draw one bell curve and put the z-scores on the bottom. Okay? Draw one normal curve. Go back to the LBJ question. Same question. So here's the Z curve, here's your normal curve. 0, -1, -2, 1, 2. Everybody with me? And you put a negative 3 out here if you want to. And a positive 3. Now, 75, this is for the man. So we're going to get a z-score for the male. And that's 75 minus what? 69.6 divided by 3.2. And then the z-score for the woman, for Molly, is 70 minus 64.3 over, thank you, 3.8. Somebody give me those two numbers.
Okay, for the man,
Okay?
1.6875.
6.9. Why did I round it to 2? Because it's a what? A z-score. So 1.69, there's 1.5. So 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1.69 would be 1.7. So right there is the male at 1.69 z-score. Okay, somebody give me the woman.
The woman, 1.5.
1 point what?
1.5.
1.50. So 1.50 is the woman. So who is relatively taller? The male is relatively taller. Oh my gosh. I swear to goodness. Oh. I don't even know where that came from because I wasn't even on Facebook. It's the Russians. Okay, so what's relatively taller? The man. So tell me which one it is. We got to fill them out. I'm sorry.
A.
It's A. Thank you. Z-score for the male is 1.69. Z-score for the woman is 1.50. Next. If you take several forms of a test in Hubert's class, like this test, how is it counted? He takes the highest grade. I will take C, but B is the answer. You'd be surprised at how many people miss these questions. Determine whether the variable is qualitative or quantitative. Does it represent quality or quantity? Huh? Quantity. So somebody tell me which one says quantity. It's either
B.
It's B or A. So it's B. A numerical measure. In other words, it's mathematical. So the bonus questions, and so far 2 questions you should not miss. If you look at your overall grade, this is another DA question at the end of the semester. If you look at your overall grade one day and it has decreased from several days ago, what has happened? A, I will take A, but it's not A.
A 0 has been placed over the
I was cooking when I thought about this question, putting it on the test.
Turn.
Yep. So I have to have the question first, and that comes from, and then I decide to put it on the test, and when I'm making up the test, I make these questions up. So I was cooking when I was making up this question. So that's where butter comes from.
I want to know how many people actually selected butter.
Oh, I would say out of 10, there's 1. I'm serious. Y'all think I'm kidding? We've got people that should not have driver's licenses or marriage licenses because they should not procreate. When is the last day of class for this semester? Thank you. This is a question where the student came up to me after class or after the test and said she was offended. I said, why are you offended? Well, you were making fun of September the 11th, and I had a brother, sister's, aunt's, cousin's, daughter-in-law's neighbor was killed. I said, well, what do you think about December 7th, 1941? And you know what she said? What's that? Oh. Does Hubert replace, another thing. Do y'all know what Judgment Day is? It's the name of a what? A movie. Thank you. Arnold. Arnold.
Terminator.
I love when people imitate Arnold Schwarzenegger. Y'all ever
I've
watch?
seen him get like drop kicked in the back.
Yes. What was up with that?
Didn't move though.
Yeah. I thought it was funny, but not that he got kicked, but the dummy didn't even faze him. But anyway. Does Hubert replace your lowest test grade with your final exam grade?
No way, how?
Okay, I got a story with this one. D.A. Pothead sat on the front row, come into class every day, no book, no pencil, comes in 15, 20 minutes late. After grade turn-in, I get a call from his mommy. Of course, I told her I can't talk to her about his grade. She got mad and, of course, called my department head. And the department head said that I was right. And I could not talk. So here I get Pothead calling me. Well, he didn't call me. He wouldn't call me. I told him to call me. He wouldn't call me. He texted me. I told him, I said, I'm not going to text you. You call me. After about 3 texts, he finally called me. And you know what his excuse was? He said, you had on the test that the final grade, you dropped the lowest test grade and replace it with your final grade. I said, are you sure about that? He said, yeah, you have it on each test. It's one of your bonus questions. There it is right there. That's the bonus question. So I think he needs to lay off the weed and, maybe take English 101 again so he can learn how to read.
I think learning how to read is a lower level than 101.
Well, I know that. I'm just being facetious. There's your, that's the question we just went over. I'm not doing it, but y'all can write it down. If you want to write it down, there it is. I'll give you the, let me put the number, okay, we'll go ahead and do it. Let me put the numbers in the Excel spreadsheet so you can copy it. And this one, the reason I like this question is it does like 3 or 4 questions in one. So we're going to handy dandy Excel spreadsheet this one. I'm going to let y'all do it, and then we'll do it together. I'm going to go ahead and put them in order for you. No sneezing in class, please. You need to sneeze, go outside. There you go. So you're going to do the 5-number summary and the box plot, and then you're going to tell me if it's skewed left or skewed right. Hopefully you'll feel good about yourself.
So we can start it starting today.
I'm sorry, say again?
So we can start the test starting today.
Yes.
Okay.
It's always opposite. So if all the data's on the left, it's skewed right. If all the data's on the right, it's skewed left. Now we're not going to do the mean, the median, the mode. All I'm going to do is just pick out just pick out what you need. And that's the min, the max, first, second, and third, and mid-range. So how many numbers are above that 55? So that means that one is the Okay, so now all you got to do now is just draw the number line first. So let's draw our number line. Was that a yawn? Okay, what'd I tell you? No yawning in class. We actually had a teacher throw a student out because they yawned more than 3 times. So they got fired. We also had a student, I told you about the red solo cup teacher, right? Yeah, he got fired. Oh, he taught 4 classes, and they started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and he'd come in with a red solo cup, and at 9 o'clock he would go refill his red solo cup, and at 10 o'clock he would refill, and by lunchtime, by his last class, he would pretty much be 3 sheets in the wind. These are some dumb people, but it doesn't count the biggest one. No, the third dumbest one. The third dumbest one is the guy that decided to show a soft porn during a speech class. He was trying to show people embarrassment.
Is this like Tri-County professors, or is
Yeah,
this
these are all Tri-County professors in the last 10 years.
Where do they find them at?
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. You think people are smart if they got a degree? They aren't. They stupid. The stupidest one was the one that decided to do something illegal in his office and not lock the door. And that's all I'm going to say. Now, that illegal does not mean murdering somebody. It just means something illegal at Tri-County Tech. There's only 2 or 3 things you can get fired for at Tri-County Tech, and he was doing one of them.
Do they like put something bad on your record?
Yeah, you got fired.
I'll get hired somewhere.
I mean, if you put a reference at Tri-County Tech on your resume and they check your reference and they call personnel, personnel's going to say that person was terminated. They won't tell you why, but again, that's called the real world. Sorry. But these people are not very smart. If you're going to do something questionable in your office, lock the door. I mean, if you're going to go in there, and lay on the couch and go to sleep, lock the door. And everybody's trying to figure out what he did. Well, like I said, there's only 2 or 3 things at Tri-County that you get. One is murder, and there's 2 other things that you can get pretty much fired for, and that's about it.
Well, wasn't in your alone?
I'm not going to say. All right. So, 46 and 64 and 55. And of course, 46 to 55 is going to be what? 9. Half of 9 is 4. So that's going to be 50 and 59. And then that's 4, so you can do a 48, 52 or 53, 57, and 61. Now, you got all that taken care of. That's out, that's out, that's out. 48. 61. And 55. That's about as good as you can get. The middle lines up with the median, so that's pretty much a what? That's a normal curve. Okay, y'all got these numbers written down so I can put them in the computer. All right, so what was the 5 numbers? Articulate, please.
46,
46.
48,
Hold on. 48. 55. 61.
64.
Y'all just play musical answers. The Anderson campus plays musical students. Which one looks like a normal distribution? This is skewed right, and this is skewed what? Left. So which one is it? It's not skewed right. It's pretty much symmetric. Next. When are final exams? There's the December 7th, 1941. I said, are you offended by December 7th? What's that? DA. If you're going to complain about something, make sure you know your history. Next. Population mean or sample mean? Well, it's going to be what? What does it say right here?
population.
So you're going to pick mu or you're going to pick X bar? Mu. So 19, that's going to be 30, 45, 55, half, say 55 divided by 5 is 11. Next. If you miss a question on a test, now make sure you realize what this question's asking, because some of y'all are going to ask this question after the test. If you miss a question on a test and you believe it is correct, if you say 12 and a half and you put in 12 and a half and it says 12.5, what do? You send several emails to Hubert with the last one saying, hello. You scream and throw a temper tantrum. That has happened. Of course, I walked out of the room. Ask Hubert if you can meet with him after class, or call Hubert's office and not get an answer 5 or 6 times. How about B as in Bravo? Okay? Now, if the question tells you to round to the first decimal point, what are they telling you? Not to write a fraction. If the directions are not vague, if the directions are pretty much concrete, I probably will not give you leniency. But if the questions are vague and the questions do not specify, then I'm very lenient. Capiche?
Capiche.
25. The number 1 most missed question of the bonus questions. It's the one that equals 100. I was actually asked to take that 30, 30, 30 off because it confuses students. I did not reply. If a student does not complete a homework assignment, what grade will be recorded for that assignment? This is the student that didn't know, and I made sure I put, we only missed one, we only skipped one question because I'm going to take that one off, or I'm going to fix it. Oh, we still got one wrong here. What's that one? Okay, that is incorrect. Okay, this is a prime example. Okay, that is not correct. They should have said and. I would give you that question because it should be 16. The mathematical correct answer is 16. But they're saying or. So I guess that means both. I guess now or means both. Not either or, it means both. So I'm not going to say much on that one. I am going to research this question a little bit, or I'm going to replace it. There's no way. Okay, somebody tell me how they got the midpoint of 70. There is no way in mathematics that you can get a midpoint from one number.
How did they get 70.5?
I don't know how they got any of those numbers. Because what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to get the class width, And then you're supposed to find the midpoint and add the class width to every midpoint.
But it,
They can't do that because they got different midpoints. 71 plus 72, that's correct. 73 plus 76, that's supposed to be a decimal because that's 79 or 149. That's not.
They rounded up.
I don't know what they're doing. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to take this one out, and I'm going to put a question in that's actual that you can do. But I'm going to cover this question when y'all come back Tuesday, okay? And that way I'll extend the test another couple of days, okay? So don't worry about it. You can go ahead and work on the test right now, but you can wait until Tuesday, and I'll cover this question. Capiche? All right. Y'all get out of here. Let me shut this down.